Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Silver Lining. I'm your host, Juliet Vine, Miss South Florida Fair 2020, and I just want to applaud myself before we begin because I picked the perfect sweater to wear today. It has llamas on it with hats, and my guest's favorite animal is a llama. So, I mean, we just had like a telepathic connection. Please welcome my beautiful and sweet guest, Miss Montana 2020, Jessica Criss.
Thank you so much, Julia, for having me on the show.
Well, you look great. I love the crown and the sash. You just look like a total queen, and I am so excited to ask you all these questions today if you're ready.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay, so my first question for you is one on how you first got involved in the Miss America organization, and what do you believe you learned along the way that led you to your Miss Montana win?
Well, I actually started in the Miss America organization as a local title holder in Oregon. I was born and raised in Southern Oregon, and I knew that I needed scholarships because I really wanted to go out of state for college. I had my sights set on Montana State University, and I knew to be able to afford that wonderful college, I needed lots of scholarships. And so there was a wonderful local board members that came to my high school and told me about the Miss Klamath County organization. And so I went and I was like, oh, I'm not a pageant girl, but like, if there's scholarships, I'll go and see what I can do. And I got involved, and I actually won my first title that first year as a senior in Miss Klamath County, and I got to go to Miss Oregon and compete. And I got over almost close to $5,000 over my total year as Miss Klamath County and going to Miss Oregon. And so that allowed me to go to Montana State, and I absolutely loved my time there. And so because once I got to Montana, I thought, well, this organization is phenomenal, but I need 4 more years of schooling to be able to afford this. So I went back and I sought out the Miss Montana organization, and I actually competed for 5 years at the Miss Montana organization, through all my years of college. Then I graduated, and then I got to win my title as Miss Montana the year after I graduated in 2020. So.
That is incredible, and it's so nice to hear how this organization has influenced you from your start in Oregon to now. So are you originally born and raised in Oregon, and you just moved to Montana for college?
That's correct. I fell in love with Montana. I got to come and visit when I was doing kind of a college tour, trying to find where I wanted to go to school, and I absolutely fell in love with Montana. I grew up in Southern Oregon, which is a lot different than what people normally think of Oregon is like. It's not very rainy. It's more of a high desert, mountainous region, very similar to Montana. So when I got here, I totally felt at home, and the people are incredible. And so I knew that this is where I wanted to stay and do my 4 years of college. And then after I did my 4 years of college, I couldn't leave. So here I am.
So you basically are from like the 2 most gorgeous states in the country. I was actually looking up some interesting facts about Montana because I don't really know too much about your state. It was just like every fun fact was all about how beautiful the scenery is and how many animals they have and how many parks. So that's so nice. And I know you touched on your history with the MAO and everything, but I do want to know exactly how many local titles you served, I mean, in addition to your state title.
So Montana is actually an open state pageant.
Okay.
So we don't have locals in the state of Montana. You can apply, and any girl can go and compete at Miss Montana because there are no locals, which is a phenomenal opportunity because any girl who needs scholarships, they can go and they spend a week competing at Miss Montana, and they're guaranteed to walk away with at least $950, if not more, which is an incredible opportunity for everyone and every girl across the state of Montana. So I've actually held only 1 local title, even though I competed for 5 years to become Miss Montana.
Oh, I see. Okay, yes. Oh, wow. So that's so interesting because I do hear about this. I believe Maine is similar to that. When I spoke to Miss Maine, it's just so different, like from the way we do it in Florida. But that's so cool to hear. So when you apply for Miss Montana, is there like a specific application process that you would have to go through that might be like a little different? Instead of like competing for a local, like you submit a resume, I assume, and that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. It's almost like the local pageant was condensed because you have to send in a resume that includes your platform statement and what you want to accomplish during your time as a candidate for Miss Montana. And you also have to, sometimes the board may call and ask for an interview over the phone or something because Montana is so large, they often just do a phone interview to be able to compete at Miss Montana. And it's kind of like they condense down the local title holder pageant into the application process. And then if you're accepted, then you go on to compete at Miss Montana.
So when you like, okay, so you have all these months of preparation, you have the application process, you are hoping to get to compete at Miss Montana, you have the phone call interview, right? And then when you finally get there, how long are you there before you actually compete at competition? Like, are you there for a week or a couple of days, or is it like a day of type thing when you like, how long do you spend there before you actually get to compete at Miss Montana?
It's a week-long program where the girls arrive on a Sunday afternoon, and we get to have sponsored lunches, and we get to meet our host homes because we're put up in wonderful host homes during our time.
That's so nice. Wow.
It's so wonderful. The town of Glendive has been hosting the Miss Montana pageant for 14 years. And the town, really, the whole community comes together to be able to put on the Miss Montana program. There are host families that all the girls stay with throughout the community. We also do community service throughout the week as well as rehearsals and getting ready and preparation. And so we arrive on a Sunday afternoon, and then that Saturday, the Miss Montana is crowned. So we're there for a full week, and then we check out the following Sunday morning.
That is so nice. And so I don't know what like a pageant state really even means, because you hear of like Texas and Oklahoma are big pageant states. I don't know if Montana is like particularly big on pageants, or if that's like a large part of the culture down there. So I'm wondering, as eloquently as I can phrase this, like, how do people in Montana really react to the Miss Montana pageant? Is there a lot of support there? Is it like, an exciting thing that people talk about, or is it like something that a lot of people don't know about besides the girls that compete?
I wish there was more people who knew about the pageant, just because it's such an incredible opportunity for the scholarships and the service and meeting young women across the state who are dedicated to improving their communities. It's such an incredible program. But because Montana is so small and there are no local opportunities for local pageants to kind of accrue interest across the state, Montana is so large that I feel like there is often a disconnect between someone who may not know about the program versus someone who knows and is currently competing. Our local pageants, we used to have local pageants in Montana, and then they became more smaller and smaller, and so to be able to hold the state pageant, we became a net-large state. But I think that we had 15 girls compete at my last pageant, and that's about the average of all the girls across the state. And I wish that it was a little bit bigger, just because our state is huge. I think a lot of people think that a lot of people live in Montana, but as large as our state is, we're the 5th largest in the nation, and we only have less than 1 million people who live here.
That's crazy. But like I said, it is a gorgeous state. And, I'm so glad that I get to interview you and hear about the way things operate down there, because it is very different from, the way we do it in Florida or anything, where pageants are not as popular as like certain states, like Oklahoma or Texas, but it certainly is talked about. And so, but it's developing incredible young ladies. And I don't think that the fact that it is smaller in Montana dilutes the fact that it is just as powerful as any other state. And so they obviously have girls like you representing them. So it's a pretty good pageant, I'm sure. And I just am happy to get to hear the way things work down there. It's very interesting. And as far as an at-large state goes, I mean, a lot of pageants do this. This is something that is very common. I believe Miss USA's locals all operate at large. Like, you get to apply to go to state as well in that system. And so Miss America is really one of the few systems that does locals. So hearing that Montana does that is not really as off the wall as some people might think.
Absolutely. And I don't think that it diminishes from the quality of girl that gets to come compete. Sometimes I think that we actually get to reach more people who would never think of competing in a pageant, because there are these women who, at the last state pageant, the pageant in 2020, we had a young woman who is absolutely incredible. Her name is Britta, and I love her dearly. And she would never have thought of doing a pageant if there were locals or a long list of things to get to Miss Montana. And yet she got to compete at Miss Montana, and her talent, she has done 4-H for years, and she's very involved out on the ranch. And so she actually showed a chicken, not a live chicken, but she showed a chicken for her talent. And it was a comedy piece, and it was absolutely incredible. And so while we were
I want to watch that.
And backstage, we were all saying that, like, this is only something that you would see at Miss Montana, is someone from 4-H who decided to do it for the scholarships and decided to show a chicken for her talent. It was absolutely fantastic.
After our interview, I need more information, like a picture or something. I need to put that in there. That is iconic. And like you said, it just is a great way for an incredible young woman, no matter what state they're from, to have this opportunity. And like you said, it doesn't really change the quality of girl because they have an excellent representative like you. And in addition to being Miss Montana and being so accomplished in that way, you are also accomplished academically. So you are a recent graduate from Montana State University with a bachelor's in animal science with a concentration in equine science. Is that how you say that?
It's pronounced equine or equine, but it's just horses. So I'm the horse crazy girl that your mother warned you about.
Oh, equestrian. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I seem like so dumb, but at least I have someone smart like Miss Montana to explain it to me. So my friend, I want to hear all about it. Tell me about the equine science and everything in between. Is that how you say
Yes,
it?
I knew that I wanted to study horses. That has been my passion for a really long time. And when I actually started going to school, I thought that I was on the pre-vet track because I wanted to work with horses and kind of heal the horse. So I started working for pre-veterinary medicine in my undergraduate degree. And through my equine science degree, I met some of the most incredible people and worked with some really wonderful professors and other girls who are going through my program, and boys too, who are just some veterinarians who also worked at Montana State University. And through my time there, I began to see that I didn't really want to do pre-veterinary medicine for the sense of I wanted to work with horses, but I didn't want to do the pre-veterinary side. So I've actually kind of changed my trajectory just slightly. And I'm actually now going to be going into my master's degree. That's what my Miss Montana Crown is funding, is my master's degree in communication sciences and disorders. So I hope to become a speech language pathologist and use horses as a tool to learn not only how to better ourselves and learn better speech path, or speech problems, and be able to not only grow through speech, but also grow as a person.
That is incredible. I mean, that took a very interesting turn that I wasn't expecting, and I just want to get on back to that. I mean, congratulations for pursuing your master's, and that makes me so happy to hear that Miss America is helping you fund that. Of course, it's what they're all about, right, as the largest scholarship provider in the country. But I do want to ask, I think your major sounds incredibly interesting. I love horses. I mean, just to give you a brief history or a brief touch on my history with horses, I actually live right near a ranch. I live in South Florida, but in my neighborhood, like it's like a big horse community, right? So I grew up horseback riding, but the second I got bit by a horsefly, it was over for me. But I do love them. I think that they're beautiful, and I admire people that work with them. I just did not know that that could be a major. I'm assuming that that's pretty rare, and I would assume that only states like Montana could offer that course of study. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the University of Miami, my school, offers a course that interesting.
Well, I think that animal science is a course that's often offered in the College of Agriculture across the U.S., but equine science particularly is probably not as common as a general animal science degree. I was very fortunate to be able to focus my studies on equine while we were going through school and be able to pursue that passion for me. So
that is so fun. And so you mentioned that you're pursuing your master's, and what made you decide to just completely go for it? Was it the funding that like made you go that extra mile in furthering your education, or like what inspired you? I mean, this is an incredibly difficult time during a pandemic, and we don't even know like what's going to be happening soon in the near future, right? But you have made this decision to go further after graduating. So what pushed you to just go the extra mile?
I always wanted to either get a master's degree, or originally I was planning on getting my doctorate in veterinary medicine. So I knew that a bachelor's degree wasn't going to be the end for me. I just wasn't quite sure where I wanted to go. And so when I really found this passion for helping people, because I'm such a people person, I love people, and I really thought that I was kind of missing something by focusing on veterinary medicine. And so I knew that I wanted to be working with people, I wanted to be working with horses. And it was actually a program called the Heroes in Horses program, which works with veterans who come back from serving overseas, who are struggling with reintegrating back into society. And either they have PTSD or something that they encountered while serving that they're struggling to kind of go back into their regular civilian life. And so it pairs a veteran with an unbroke, untouched Mustang. And these Mustangs and the veterans, they work together, and the Mustang is actually kind of the teacher in this program. And the last thing that they do is they take them on a packing trip up through the Montana wilderness. And so I heard of this program, and I got to work with a few people who are very heavily involved with this program, and I absolutely fell in love with what they were doing and using horses as teachers to kind of help people learn and refine themselves through equine therapy. A lot of studies have shown that if you tell a child that you're going to therapy, they often struggle to really put their full heart and soul into growing and learning experience because they want to be just like everyone else. And so if you tell the kid, oh, you get to go ride horses, or we're going to swim lessons, or we're just going to go hiking through the forest, then they're often a lot more receptive to being able to accept that help that you're offering to them.
And I just love what you said, like you're a helper, you're a people person, and that's of course why you're in a position to serve your state, and just the way that you're using your education and your love for service to combine it and create this beautiful thing where you're helping so many people, veterans, children. It's just incredible. So I want to commend you for that, because it is truly touching. And I just want to be with you and hang out with you and ride some horses too. So now I'm jealous. But
well, you can come up to Montana at any time. You have lots of options with Montana. On the western side of the state, it's very mountainous. So we have lots of skiing, there's fly fishing, lots of hiking to beautiful peaks with absolutely gorgeous overlooks, lots of lakes. And then as you come towards eastern Montana, it becomes more of the plains. And I'm actually right now sitting in Glendive, Montana, which is actually the host city of the pageant.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and right in Glendive, Montana, we have the Badlands. And so we have Makoshika State Park, which is absolutely stunning, out through the Badlands. They call them the Badlands for a reason. While you're out there, it's very mysterious and very, very harsh country. So you have some options if you come visit Montana.
I feel like you just sold everybody on going to Montana. It sounds so fun, and I feel like I would never want to drive in Montana because I would just want to walk everywhere and be in nature. And believe me, I'm not the type of person to say that. But you got me sold on it.
Our state is very large, so it would take you a very long time to walk across. Our speed limits are 80 miles an hour, and it takes you 10 hours to drive across the entire state. So
see, it's so big, and like you said, you would think a lot of people live there, but see, Jessica's debunking all the myths about Montana, but she's also convincing y'all to visit. So that is amazing. And so you have such a cool course of study, right? You're service oriented, you're Miss Montana, and to top it all off, Jessica, you also sing opera. And when we were talking about your talent, you mentioned that you sang a piece from Phantom of the Opera, which just subtle thing. I am literally unhealthily obsessed with Phantom of the Opera. It is my favorite musical. When I heard that, I was like, yes, she has great taste. So I want to hear all about that. I want to hear how you got started singing and what made you choose Phantom of the Opera for your piece and why. Although I feel like that's a silly question to ask, because why wouldn't you choose Phantom of the Opera? But it is very difficult. It is very difficult to sing, and I just want to give you credit where credit is due and just say, although it's beautiful, it is incredibly hard to sing. So I want to know what bravery was inside you to make you choose such an iconic and hard piece for talent.
Well, I'm just like you. I'm obsessed with that show. A lot of the Broadway pieces that come out of that show and other incredible iconic Broadway shows. And I actually got started singing. My family is very musical. And so I have grown up singing, grown up playing instruments, and we always sing when we have get-togethers, family get-togethers or whatnot. And I was in the choirs all growing up, and I've always loved to sing. But it wasn't really until I found my niche, my voice really does well with operatic type pieces. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't actually until I won Miss Klamath County that I got to work with one of my favorite voice teachers of all time, Katie Harmon Ebner, who is actually Miss America 2002. She is Miss America from Oregon, and I got to work with her as my voice teacher.
No, wait, what? I love her. I want her on my show. Katie, hi, come here now. I was watching the Christmas party, and she sang, and she's just gorgeous. So you've been taught by the literal angel of music.
Yes, oh my gosh, it was an incredible opportunity. She is everything a Miss America ought to be. She is eloquent and beautiful and graceful and kind, and with the voice of an angel. And so being able to sing with her in her Songbird studio while preparing for Miss Oregon was really kind of an eye-opening experience for me, that I got to see what a trained classical voice could do. And that's when I thought that I wanted to be able to set goals for myself to not be like her, because there's nobody on her level, but to try to be as close to her as I could. And so I've continued to pursue classical instructors ever since I've moved to Montana. I've worked with some other ones as well, but I've really more focused on that classical voice, that operatic style pieces. And I fell in love with the Phantom of the Opera pieces, and it really suits that style of voice very well. My first title, my Miss Klamath County, I won with the piece Think of Me from Phantom. And so as this year, this was, I was thinking it was probably the last year that I was going to be able to compete for Miss Montana, and so I wanted to tie in all the things that I love about this program, and so I kind of went back to my roots and picked another song from Phantom. And instead of Think of Me like Miss Klamath County, I sang Wishing You Were Somehow Here Again.
Oh, I love that one.
Oh, I do too. And it was just wonderful to kind of wrap up I kind of bookended my career in the state title with Phantom of the Opera pieces, which was wonderful.
That is so amazing. I love both of those songs so much. So it's clear to see why you are now Miss Montana. I mean, you've got the service, you've got the talent, you've got the educational aspects, so you've got it all down. And so I want to know what it felt like when you became Miss Montana 2020. Now, we have an interesting situation with the pandemic. So state title holders are now serving 2 years. So Miss Montana 2019 passed on her crown to you. And so when you've been serving as Miss Montana, you've been serving throughout the pandemic. And like you've told me before, you've been in quarantine and you haven't really been able to get out much. So I want to know, in addition to being crowned Miss Montana and having that honor, how have you been handling the unique challenge of only being able to really do virtual appearances? I'm sure that must be hard, but it seems like you're really still so involved in your year and still churning out so many appearances, so it hasn't slowed you down any.
I think that I have gotten to adapt my presentation really well. Something that Miss Montana does for her entire year is the Crown to Classroom tour. And in my Crown to Classroom tour across Montana, there are a ton of one-room schoolhouses. And because there are so many far-reaching rural communities with farming backgrounds and farming roots, that maybe there's only 10 kids in the entire school. And so I've actually been able to go out and see those schools and see the schools that maybe
great.
Yeah, maybe never have met Miss Montana before. And I'm able to go out and reach these communities that may not have had this opportunity because of the pandemic. So I tried to see it as like a different kind of blessing, is that I get to reach people who have never had this opportunity before. And so I have not been doing Zoom or online appearances as much. I've been really trying to focus on being in person.
Oh, great.
And so I've been going out into the rural communities and being able to teach in rural communities and talk to those students. And luckily, my social impact initiative called A Sense of Defense, I actually also have a black belt in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. And so I go out into these rural communities and we talk about bullying and being kind to others and being able to defend yourself. And so I actually get to go out and teach martial arts, and we kick shields and we practice blocking, and we're actually able to stay distant from each other and everyone wears a mask. And because it's the smaller group, I'm able to still go out and see them in person, which has been an incredible opportunity.
Okay, that's great, Ninja Lady. I need to just backtrack. You have a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, or what? You are so cool. Wait, no, you need to tell me all about this. When did you start doing that? And tell me about your platform, please.
I actually started doing it at birth. My parents are both black belts in Jiu-Jitsu as well. They started practicing Jiu-Jitsu together right after they got married. And so they were already black belts by the time I even came along. And so they raised me in the dojo. Some of my earliest memories are being out on the mat and practicing Jiu-Jitsu and being kind of inundated with self-defense since I was very, very young. I actually started practicing being able to earn belt ranks at the age of 4. And so I have been doing Jiu-Jitsu for as long as I can remember.
So you could beat me up by the time you were 4. That's nice.
I do like to think that my parents trained me very well. So
Don't mess with Jessica. If any of y'all are thinking, oh, let me mess with Miss Montana, I would not suggest it. Or if you are being bullied and you currently live in Montana, that's a great Miss Montana appearance. Just pay her the fee and she'll come beat someone up for you.
Well, I like to talk about being able to take care of yourself. And so I would love to be able to talk to anyone who's been struggling with bullying issues or self-confidence issues as well. And that way we can use martial arts to not only become safer individuals, but also safer in the community as well.
Yes, of course. I'm just teasing. Jessica does not want you to beat people up, but if you had to, she could teach you how. I'm missing the point. She's like, no, I want to teach people to be confident and like, be safe. And I'm like, no, she wants you to punch people in the street. So that is so amazing. Wow. So you could have even done that for your talent, because my sister Queen, her and I won 2 titles in the same local. Ashley, she's Miss Palm Beach County. She is a karate superstar, and she did that for her talent routine, which I thought was just super cool. So you could have done that too, but you are like so talented that you also sing opera, which is so amazing. I'm like mind blown. That is amazing. I would just never think that about you. I mean, you seem so sweet and like, but you could just like, wait, I know this is cliche. I probably sound like so silly, but what, like in those movies, those karate movies, they give you like a wooden block. Can you chop through one? Like,
it's not my favorite thing. I would prefer to be able to do takedowns or throws or self-defense in that way, but we do learn how to break blocks just in case we have to. So I could, but I wouldn't like to do it.
That is amazing. And I just have one thing, if you don't mind sharing. Do you have like one self-defense tip that like some of my viewers could like learn from, like whether they're women or men, like just anything that might save them in a sticky situation?
Absolutely. My number one thing that I tell people is to be aware of your surroundings, because and especially with today, we have these incredible computers in our pockets that we are constantly pulling out and being connected to the rest of the world with, which is so awesome. But oftentimes someone who is out on the street looking for a victim is looking for someone who is not going to be able to defend themselves. They might look distracted. They might look timid. They might look like they're not willing to put up a fight. And that's the kind of person who is often targeted. And so the number one way to make sure that you are not chosen as a victim is to not look like one. So walk with confidence, make sure you're aware of your surroundings. I like to tell my kiddos to make eye contact with people. And when you make eye contact with the intensity that says, I could identify you to the police if I had to. And so making sure that you're walking with that confidence and making sure that you know what's going on around you, even going on behind you, so that no one sneaks up on you.
I love you because you are like a girl that can literally do both. Like you look like this like sweet beauty queen. You have the crown, like the little sweater. You're all snug in your Montana lodge. And then you're like, okay, but like, here's the thing. Don't look like a victim. And if I stare at you in the face, I'm literally memorizing everything about you. So I can report you later. Great. That is just amazing. You were like terrifying, but in the coolest way ever. Like I'm scared, but like I also admire you. So there's that.
Thank you. I hope that by going across the state and talking about it, not only will young men hopefully be able to say like, I want to be able to defend myself. I want to be able to walk into a room and know I can take care of myself. I hope that the young women that I meet not only see the crown and sash and see the sparkles and the jewels and the makeup and the cool jewelry, and but they also see someone who is confident in themselves, who can take care of themselves. As someone who is the daughter of 2 black belts, it's never been an option for me not to be able to defend myself. And so when I hear stories of women who are scared of their situations, if they get into a situation where they're being picked on or bullied, or even on like public transit when you're being picked or being pushed around by someone who thinks that you're either less than them or beneath them, or that they can control you out of fear, that really makes me want to tell them that there is an opportunity, that there is a way that they can become confident in themselves and know that no matter what situation they get into, they can get out of it because they can defend themselves.
Well, thank you so much for that tip. I mean, seriously, all jokes aside, I think it is so important in this day and age for young women and men to know how to defend themselves. And of course, you mentioned public transit. I'm from South Florida. I go to school in Coral Gables, which is essentially Miami. And you know, you see that kind of stuff happening all the time. Like I was considering riding the Metro Rail as an easy way to get from my home to school because I'm a commuter. And just the things you see on local news, like I saw a woman get brutally beaten about a month ago by a random man, like nothing. He didn't even steal anything from her. He just physically assaulted her out of nowhere. And it's just so terrifying that girls can be caught up in those vulnerable situations. But I really do appreciate you sharing tips like that, because it is so easy to get caught up in that mentality of like, I'm scared, I'm alone, I'm vulnerable. And of course those feelings are so valid, but it's important to, in those situations, assert yourself. And so I just really appreciate that. And I think that's certainly something that I'm going to remember. And I hope that my viewers take that away with them as well.
Absolutely. And there are a lot of incredible dojos. There are many forms of martial arts all across the state, whether it be Japanese jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, there's Taekwondo and karate, and there's so many, Krav Maga, kickboxing, there's so many different types of martial art that if you're someone who thinks that you could benefit from being able to train and be told exactly how to defend yourself and practice multiple times a week how to get out of sticky situations, I would absolutely recommend finding a dojo and working out and being able to find your confidence in who you are through self-defense.
Well, now that Miss Montana has given me the advice to become a karate superstar myself, don't mess with me, guys, because maybe after winter break, you all might find me just like, she's like completely unimpressed with that move. She was like, that is not at all how you karate chop, but I'm going to learn, Jessica. And when I come to Montana and we're partying with the horses, we might do a little karate chop here and there. So we'll see.
Absolutely. I would love that. We could do all of that when you come visit. Absolutely.
It's a party. And so I want to know now, we've touched on your very unique year, and I'm so happy that you get to do in-person appearances, of course, socially distanced, and like you mentioned, it's a pretty small environment, so you are keeping it safe. But I do want to know, what is one thing that you wish you knew perhaps before you won Miss Montana or became Miss Montana? Like, not necessarily something that is, you know, something that you like needed to know, but something that you would have liked to have known before you began your year that might have helped you transition into a big job like this a little bit easier.
I think the biggest thing was when I was crowned, I told myself that, oh, this pandemic is going to be over soon, and then it won't affect the majority of my time as Miss Montana. I'll just like be able to whiz through this, and then it'll be over and gone and totally done with.
Yeah, right.
Right, exactly. And I think the biggest thing that I would have told myself is that is not the case. That the pandemic will continue, and you will be able to not only overcome the fear that is in the communities, but also being able to still going out and still being Miss Montana, still being in the community and serving as much as I can with everything that's going on. So that's the biggest point of growth that I've had is thinking, going from the mentality of, oh, this is going to be over soon, to, even though it isn't, I can still do it.
Right. And, you know, the reason why I say this to all the girls I interview from your class, because I began this show with the initiative that I wanted to interview every girl from your class, because you guys have a very unique situation, you know, with serving 2 years and serving during a pandemic and all that kind of stuff. And so I just admire you girls so much for your positivity. I can see you're a very positive person, because, I mean, none of us expected this pandemic to last as long as it did. I remember when I found out our state pageant was canceled, and I was devastated, but I thought, you know, it'll be over soon, and, you know, things will go back to normal. And of course that is not the case quite yet, but I think that being adaptable, being flexible is a part of the job. And so I just admire you so much and all the work you're doing, and your positivity is infectious, because us title holders, local title holders, we look up to you guys. And so seeing the state title holders take on these challenges so well is very, very motivating. And my show's title is called The Silver Lining, which is all about finding the positivity in every situation, which is clear to see you prioritize that part of yourself. And so I'm wondering, Jessica, what was the best part, or what is the best part of this experience to you? Because it's not quite over yet. You still have half a year to go, but, or depending on when your state pageant is, I'm not sure, but either way, it's not over yet. So I'm wondering, what is the best part of this all to you?
Gosh, I don't think I could just pick one thing. Not only has the scholarships allowed me to be able to continue and pursue my master's degree, which will be benefiting me for the rest of my entire life, my entire working career, but also the girls that you meet throughout this program. I've competed for 5 years in this program, and at Miss Montana, and I just fell in love every single time with the girls who competed, and they all wanted to change their communities. The reason they come and compete is because they want to pursue a degree or change their community or be super involved. And so that just meeting those caliber of women across the 5 years has been just a wonderful opportunity. But during the time as Miss Montana, my silver lining has really been being able to go out and see people who may not have ever been able to meet Miss Montana before. Like I mentioned earlier, being able to go out into those tiny communities in the middle of nowhere that's 7 hours from the nearest Walmart, that is being able to go out and talk to them about still being safe, and talk to them and make sure they know that they're being heard and that they can change their world too. Even though they come from a class of 2, that they can go out and they can change the world, and they can really do anything that their mind wants them to do. So being able to go out and talk to those communities that may not have ever had the opportunity to talk to Miss Montana before has really been a blessing that I wasn't expecting when I was crowned.
And you have impacted so many people. I mean, just even from briefly speaking to you today in this interview and communicating with you over the past, I think we scheduled this 2 months ago. But being able to talk to you, you just are so sweet. You are so solicitous, just so kind. And I think that is just a huge part of what makes you a successful Miss Montana. And so I am so excited to keep up with you. I am wondering, when is your state pageant? When do you give up your crown?
I actually, because I have 2 years, I actually will not give up my title until 2022. So I will be Miss Montana 2020. I will also be Miss Montana 2021. I will compete at Miss America 2021 and give up my title the following summer in 2022.
Wait, so is that what they're doing? So when you guys serve the second year, you guys compete at Miss America 2022?
Yes. Yep. I won't compete at Miss America until next fall.
Okay, wait, so are they doing with all the girls that assumed the 2020 titles? Like Miss Louisiana 2020, I interviewed her, and other girls that took on after the 2019 title holder?
I don't believe so. I know that every title you have to have a competition between, each state had an opportunity to choose whether they wanted to have their state title this summer or in 2020, or crown their next title holder in 2021 after we found out that Miss America 2021 was canceled.
Right.
And so all the girls who are crowned between last summer and next summer will all go into the same cohort in Miss America 2020.
So we'll see you at Miss America then.
I will be at Miss America.
So you have a lot more time. Excuse me.
Yeah, I have a year and a half left.
Well, then, you guys, we have a year and a half left with Jessica. How lucky are we? I was trying to cut her time short there, but I'm not going to steal her thunder. She has so much more to go. So you guys, listen to me. You better keep up with her. I will make sure you do. Or maybe she will, because she'll just come out of nowhere. Again, terrible karate chop, not my gift. But I'm so glad I got to talk to you, Jessica. You are amazing. I can't wait to see what you do with this year and a half. And I'm going to be screaming at the top of my lungs when you're at Miss America, obviously. Guys,
I'm watch you compete at Miss Florida next summer. I wish you all the best. I know that you are going to do as just awesome being able to represent your area and your local and your state. So hopefully we'll be competing at Miss America together.
That is crazy. Wait, guys, don't want to get too out of myself here. Jessica just kind of melted my mind. We can party at Miss America and bring horses there, karate chop in the lobby. Oh my gosh. It's too exciting. It's too exciting. I'm like, so you need to be live streaming Miss Florida, obviously. I will make sure you do. And you guys, you need to keep up with her, because if you're not, what are you, living under a rock? She has so much more exciting stuff coming up. Please follow me, shameless plug. And Jessica, it has been such an honor to talk to you today. And I hope I get to meet you in person.
That would be absolutely incredible. I would love it. Either we'll make a meeting halfway between Montana and Florida, or one of us will have to go the whole way. I've never been to Florida, so maybe this will be my chance to go.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's not as gorgeous as Montana, but it probably has a lot more craziness going on in the streets. Just a guess. All right. Well, thank you, Jessica. You are amazing. And I had so much fun talking to you.
Thank you so much, Juliet. You are wonderful.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into my channel today. Your support means the world to me. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to my channel and like and comment on my videos, because your support is what fuels my ability to make content. I'll see you guys next time, and once again, thanks for joining me for another episode of The Silver Lining. Love you guys. Bye.